We have breaking news as the Rockets have just made a massive move, signing Ime Udoka to a long-term contract extension. And I tell you what, this changes everything for the Houston Rockets as they now have their guy at the helm for the foreseeable future. Welcome in here to Rockets Digest. I'm Jace Andrews, and I appreciate you joining us. If you're not subscribed, why not? This is exactly a reason why you should. When breaking news happens, we have it to you first right here on YouTube. So if you want to stay up to date and informed on your Houston Rockets, then subscribe today so we are right there on your feet. Okay, let's go to the report from Shams Charania here, who says the Houston Rockets and their head coach Ime Udoka have agreed to a long-term contract extension with the franchise that makes him one of the highest paid NBA coaches. This all comes after a 52-win season and a top 2 seed for the first time in 7 years. Not to mention the Rockets made the playoffs this season for the first time since 2020, and the Rockets did the right thing. Ime Udoka, who had been really valued by the rest of the NBA. In fact, if we go back to about a week or two ago, the New York Knicks requested to interview Ime Udoka from the Houston Rockets. And not only now do we know that the Rockets say, no way you're interviewing our guy, we're also going to sign him to a contract extension to keep him here and make him one of the highest paid coaches in the National Basketball Association, and it was the right move because Ime Udoka, who has showed success with Boston and has now shown success with a team building them up with the Houston Rockets, I could not be more excited, and I'm so glad we have Ime for the foreseeable future. If you're excited and you want to show our coach some love, go down there and like the video. Congratulate our head coach by doing that. The more likes, the more love we can show to Ime, and I'm telling you what, he is going to bring a championship to the Houston Rockets. I would say that and put it to my grave because I believe he is one of the best coaches in the NBA, and now we get to see him in the Houston Rockets for a long time. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what are the contract details? What exactly is the amount that we're paying him? How many years? Well, we don't have the official details just yet. However, when this news broke, Shams Charania was live on the Pat McAfee show, and so we kind of got to infer a little bit from what he was saying, plus a couple of other reports and facts that we know that we can look into and see, okay, what is this deal looking like? Where does it rank him among some of the other top paid coaches in the NBA? Well, let's first go to the quote from Shams Charania. This was what he said first, saying, quote, "It makes Udoka one of the highest paid coaches in the NBA right now. This is an 8-figure deal annually," end quote. Okay, 8-figure deal is a lot of money to commit to a guy who, to be quite honest, has only coached 3 years. But that is exactly why the Rockets have trusted him. They love him. They think he is a good coach. He showed success. He was an assistant coach for a long time. He was a player, and this is somebody that you can trust even with, I'm going to call it limited experience, but at this point, when you're coaching in the NBA for more than 2 years, I would say it's probably a little bit more than limited, but he deserves to be paid like a top coach in the NBA, and the Rockets recognized that and knew that if they didn't do it, that soon enough another team would, and so they said, forget it, we're getting it done, we're getting our guy, we're locking him down. Now, we go to the next quote here from Shams Charania on the Pat McAfee show saying, quote, "You think about Tillman and Patrick Fertitta. Rockets ownership, their general manager, Rafael, they went out and hired Ime Udoka in 2023 when we know he got suspended from the Celtics. They ended up parting ways, essentially, and they scooped him up fast. They got him. He obviously is a championship caliber coach already," end quote. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Ime Udoka is a championship caliber head coach because if you look at the Houston Rockets in their past now 4 or 5 seasons, obviously this year was the 52-30 record, second in the Western Conference, although they did lose in the first round to the Golden State Warriors. Then last year, it was Ime Udoka's first year coming off a 22-60 season where they were not great. It just did not work at all. 41-41. Okay. That's pretty good. But also when you look at the stats here, if you look at that defensive rating, which is what Ime Udoka has as his quote-unquote calling sign, if you look at the defensive rating in 2020 and 2021, it was 114. You go to 2021, 2022, it went higher, 116, not great. And then it goes to 22, 23, is even higher to 119, dear gosh. And then it drops. It goes to a better defensive rating of 113.4. And then this year, one of the best in the NBA for defensive rating, 110.8. Now, obviously, the offensive rating, it is what it is, and I think he is trying to improve that. And obviously, the Rockets are trying to improve that every way they can with either a trade for KD or trying to get some more offensive firepower in here. Obviously, Jalen Green could also improve if the Rockets end up not making any trades at all. So this is a coach that you would like to see because of his history. And it's not just with the Rockets, it's also with the Boston Celtics and what he was able to do there. And it's a big thing for the Rockets to lock down a guy when you have such a young team. When you have guys who are really, most of your starting five are below 25 years old, you want to have a solid coach. You want to have a guy that you know is going to be there and be there for a long time to hopefully coach these guys up and take Amen Thompson, take Alperen Şengün. If Jalen Green stays, take him to the next level. And he's been able to do that in just over 2 years now. So just imagine what he's able to do with these young guys as not only they improve, but Ime Udoka knows them better and will honestly improve it as a head coach, especially knowing he's with this organization and has that kind of security of I am here for a long time and I'm signed to a pretty good contract as well. So it's obviously a big deal for a lot of different reasons, but there is a cool stat. I showed you right there the Houston Rockets from 2020 to this year with the 52 wins. Well, Shams Charania pointed something out on the Pat McAfee show saying, quote, in his 2 seasons, there are 93 wins in Houston. So in the past 2 seasons, 2024, 2025, 2023, 2024, 93 wins. Now, however, in the 3 years prior to that, so from 2020, that season on, until Ime Udoka was hired, they had just 59 wins. Whereas they had 52 games this year in the win column. They were the number 2 seed in the playoffs for the first time, and they were in the playoffs for the first time since 2020. And this team is clearly on the rise, end quote. I think that's a big thing. The team is on the rise. You need to have a secure head coach that is going to be here. And this organization for the Houston Rockets, something that the NBA, I'm not going to say lacks, but maybe undervalues, is sustainability and the ability for a organization as a whole to be the same year in and year out. If you look at some of the past championship winners, if you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, Sam Presti has been there since the Paul George days, and he has been able to make the right moves. They hired their head coach like 4 years ago now at this point. They've been able to keep the sustained success. And it's kind of hard because we see coaches of the year, most recently in Denver, where they get fired. And it's like, why? Like I understand they're not winning the championship, but that's not what we're doing. Whereas the Rockets know they have a young team, know they're trying to build it, and they said, Ime Udoka, we want you to be a part of it. And so now here we get into the money. Obviously, 8-figure deal is what Shams Charania said. And so he's also a top-paid coach in the NBA. Let's go look at the other top-paid coaches in the NBA and kind of what their salary is. So number 10, Nick Nurse. Now, this was obviously back in January, so some of these might be a little different. Although, looking at these guys, I don't think there's much besides Tom Thibodeau not being employed anymore. So take number 6 out. However, he's tied with Doc Rivers. But Nick Nurse, 8.5, Jason Kidd, 8.5, and Rick Carlisle, $9 million. Then it goes to the $10 million range, which we know $8 million or 8-figure deal. So that puts him into this. It puts him into this range. Now, the Suns fired their head coach, and the Knicks fired their head coach. So take Tom Thibodeau and the Suns head coach out. So that leaves Doc Rivers, Mike Malone, who also was let go, Tyronn Lue, Eric Spoelstra, Greg Popovich, and Steve Kerr. Greg Popovich retired. If I had to guess, I would assume it is a $12 million deal per year. That way you put him right where Michael Malone was, where the Denver Nuggets before he was let go. And right now you slide Ime Udoka, who again, if you look at the titles, he does not have one, but he is a good guy. And the winning percentage is here. That's something that I do want to take a quick look at. Because again, this was in January, so I'm just going to pay it as it is. Obviously, some of these guys are no longer employed, which just kind of shows to how wishy-washy the NBA has become. But 569, 525, 532, 599, 580, 587, 562, 588, 586. The top 2 coaches, obviously, Popovich and Kerr, 627 and 649. So what everybody else is about 580 or below-ish, Let's go look at Mr. Ime Udoka's winning percentage, if I can find it. Oh, hello, there it is. So if we look at the winning percentage for the Houston Rockets and Ime Udoka, in his one season with the Celtics, it was a .622 winning percentage. Obviously, with Houston last year, it was a .500 because he was right at it, and then a .634 winning percentage. So as a career, he has a .585 winning percentage. In that case, let's go look back here. Okay, .585. What does that put him in terms of ranking him among these top coaches? Better than Nick Nurse, better than Jason Kidd, better than Rick Carlisle. Not better than Mike Boldenhauser, who got let go. Funny enough, all right, not. I guess he didn't let go, but they got their general manager let go. I think he actually got fired too. Tom Thibodeau, 580, better than that. Doc Rivers, 587, just below that. Michael Malone got let go, 562. Tyronn Lue, 588, just below that. Eric Spoelstra, 586. Eric Spoelstra is probably the guard you want to look at, and he is right below him in his 3 seasons as an NBA head coach. So the winning percentage warrants this contract. The ability to turn a team around so quickly also warrants this contract, and it's something of an investment for the Houston Rockets, and it's not going to affect cap space. It's not going to affect it's not going to affect any money spent on other players. And so I give a huge shout out to Rafael Stone, the Rockets ownership, the Fertitta brothers, just being able to go out there and get this deal done. Because I wanted Ime Udoka, and now the Houston Rockets have him, and they have him for a long, long time. We'll let you know any contract details that do come out over the next coming days. Be sure to watch out on our channel. Probably post a YouTube short about that. But for now, we do appreciate you watching. And, man, I'm so excited. Ime Udoka is here to stay in H-Town. Speaking of which, we say peace out from H-Town.